Hello, marketing seniors. Welcome to the subject called branding. My name is Miss Liu, and I'll be your subject leader and lecturer for this module. Let me go to the next slide. Okay, with me, my teaching team is Mr. Wee T Yong, who will be taking 3M01 and 3M04. Myself, I'll be taking 3M02, and also Miss Chin Jia Hui, who is taking 3M03 and 3M05. Okay, just wanted to clarify upfront for the platform that we'll be using. By default, okay, we'll be using Brightspace. You'll be going to Brightspace for all your assignment submissions, all your content, all your lecture recordings, all your lecture slides, and also very importantly, announcements. So please make sure you check into Brightspace frequently and regularly, just to make sure that you don't miss out on any announcement for the subject. Okay, we will also be using MS Teams, but it is only for a few things. For example, we're only going to use it for the self and peer assessment, which is using this app called the Feedback Fruit. Okay, and we'll also be using MS Teams if we need to do online classes, for example, during HBL weeks, and also online consults. Okay. Okay. First up, let's go through some of the important items in your subject kit. Okay, the components that you have to deliver for this subject, we have IA1. IA1 will be due in the week of 22nd May, 22nd May 2023, 12 noon. That is your due date. The weightage is 20%. You will submit it via Brightspace. Following that, there will be an IA showcase. The IA showcase is like a mini presentation that you will present your IA1 during your tutorial sessions. This will happen over 2 weeks. Okay, so the week of 22nd and 29 May, we'll be going through presentations because there's so many of you and we want to give each of you enough airtime, right? Okay, the showcase will be graded, so please make sure that you put up a good show. And then for IA2, it's just a submission via Brightspace. Okay, this is due in the week of 3rd of July, then this is 25%. We will go more into each of these IAs and what sort of deliverables you have to prepare, okay? And then we have the group project, okay? There is the presentation before the submission of the actual, I'm not going to call it a report anymore, okay? The actual submission. The presentation slides you have to submit on the 7th of August, 9 a.m., okay, via Brightspace, of course. And then there will be a class presentation in the week of 7 August as well. Okay, the class presentation is worth 15%. And then your final submission on Brightspace is the week after. So during the presentation, you can sort of get an idea from the question and answer on what areas that you can improve on in your submission, in your work. So your final submission on the 14th of August, 12 noon, and that counts for 30%. And of course, class participation, which I'm sure being seniors, all of you are very familiar with right now. Make sure that you are prepared. Make sure that you ask questions, that you answer questions, and you participate. Okay, show me that you're interested. For your group project, there is the self and peer assessment. There will be an interim self and peer assessment in the week of 10th of July, and then the final one in the week of 7th of August. I think all of you are very familiar, and I also just want to add here that the self and peer is not, for me at least, it's not meant to be a penalty tool. It is more a tool for you to learn how to work in a team. So I really hope that we are able to resolve all group differences, group conflicts during the interim self and peer assessment, that we'll all be able to learn and grow from it and not just use it as a tool to penalize group members who don't perform. Okay? Okay, let's go deeper into each of these individual assignments. For IA1, 20%, it's about yourself, okay? As we all know, there are so many famous influencers on social media. They are all brands, okay? Each of these social media influencers are brands unto themselves. So you can also be a brand. In fact, we should all learn about branding ourselves. So what are we going to do? We're going to conduct a brand audit on ourselves as a brand, okay? Create, okay, and clarify and articulate our brand identity, and then pitch, okay, our own personal brand during class. That's your mini presentation, okay? So you need to submit 10 presentation slides with the visuals and text, minimum font size 25, okay, so that you don't cram too much text into each slide. Please make sure that your slides are not just informative and comprehensive. It is also meant to be clear, okay? So you need to know what are the key points that you need to include. And that's all you need to submit actually. And from there, you can use the same deck of slides for your mini presentation, okay? Okay, IA2, we'll be doing a branding architecture blueprint. What's that? Okay, what's that? Branding architecture blueprint, I shall show you more during tutorials, okay? It's essentially a report or a proposal, if you will, but it is done in a far more interesting way than what you normally think of reports, okay? It's not meant to be written in that sort of a, report language. It's meant to be written in a more engaging format, okay? You're supposed to incorporate interesting graphics and pictures to illustrate, okay, what is the point that you're trying to make. So what are we going to put in our branding architecture blueprint? We're going to talk about the brand portfolio, the brand hierarchy, the brand potential. Okay, you're going to ask me what brand, which brand? The brand is going to be something that you choose. Okay, it has to be an umbrella brand with at least 5 individual brands. What's an umbrella brand? What's an individual brand? We will learn more of this during class, so don't you worry, okay? Okay, so from the brand portfolio, brand hierarchy, and brand potential, we're going to come up with recommendations for the brand. And then from there, we are also going to identify brand extension opportunities and recommend brand marketing programs. So we're going to make all of this very, very fun and engaging and clear in a brand architecture blueprint of just 8 pages. Okay, the challenge is the 8 pages. You might think, oh, just 8 pages is very easy. But how are you going to make your 8 pages, worth every inch? How are you going to make sure that they sell what you're trying to say? That is the challenge. How are you going to make it engaging and interesting as well? Okay? We're going to go through in class a lot of examples of what the blueprint looks like. So you will have a much, much clearer idea. Okay? And then this is the individual presentation, okay, but this is based on your group project, okay? Whatever you present as a group, you will be graded individually. So you will need to submit your presentation materials. It can be PowerPoint or any other presentation formats. I'm not going to limit you, just as long as it's engaging and it's clear and it's organized and comprehensive, okay? A minimum font size of 25 and also a maximum of 25 slides, nothing more than that. Okay, for the group project, I'm very happy to announce we have a client. Our client is Qrates Co. Qrates Co is a startup, a local SME startup. They deal in homewares that is created by their founder, Chloe. And she has a lot of very beautiful lifestyle accessories and homewares, and she's she's being a startup is a very lean organization that she's got. So I think she has branded herself pretty well, but a lot of work needs to be done on branding still. So we will be the branding consultants, your groups rather. When I say we, I mean all of us. Okay, we're going to conduct a brand audit, okay, to see where the gaps, okay, that Qrates Co has missed out in terms of branding opportunities. So we're going to investigate what is the perceived brand image of Qrates Co in the market right now amongst its target market and the level of brand awareness. And we're going to conduct a survey to find out these things, minimum sample size of 100 respondents for each group. Okay. Now, your brand strategy, you need to outline the brand strategy in your final submission. In your brand strategy, you need to talk about what is the brand vision and mission. We need to clarify that, clarify the brand narrative, what is the brand purpose, brand promise, brand values, brand identity elements. And then we also need to map out the value proposition map as well as the buyer journey. Okay, I think these are things that you're very familiar with. So it's about putting them all together. And then from all of that, we need to articulate an action plan. In the action plan, we need to set goals for the brand. Okay, be very clear. This action plan is about branding. So what are the brand goals? What are the brand strategies in order to achieve these brand goals? So strategies are big, right? They are the overarching method to achieve something. And then from there, what are the individual tactics needed to achieve these strategies? And then eventually the brand goals. Okay? Okay, brand strategy roadmap is going to be 15 pages. Again, what is a brand strategy roadmap? It's very much like a blueprint, okay? But because it is something for Chloe to refer to as she carries out her branding activities, or to also to guide her marketing activities, so we're going to call it a roadmap. Okay, it's not a report or a proposal. Although it's kind of like that, but it's a jazzed up version. Think of it as a jazzed up version of a proposal. Okay, so built within that report, sorry, built within that document, you need to have diagrams, images, and illustrations. Okay, we will go through plenty of examples during tutorial, so don't worry. Okay, so we have invited Chloe to come and talk to all of you so that you can meet her. She's a very pretty and fun young lady, so I think all of you are going to have fun, and you will get to ask her questions face to face. Our briefing will be on the 25th of May, Thursday, 1 p.m., and the venue will be confirmed later on, so watch out for this announcement inside Brightspace, okay? And all of you will have to prepare questions during tutorial. Your tutors will be going through that with you. So make sure that you prepare good questions, because once Chloe has left the building, if you ask me or any of the tutors these questions, we can't answer you because we're not Chloe, right? So please make sure that you get your questions asked during the session. All right, don't be shy, okay? Please engage her. Okay, our TP policy on plagiarism. All submissions will have to be run through Turnitin. Okay, it is a I'm not sure if you have used it last semester, but it is a tool that looks for similar written work anywhere on the internet. So please make sure that you write your work yourself. Okay, that you come up with the ideas yourself and you write it in your own sentences. So this is for your final submission. Matching sources must not exceed 20%. In the event, I know sometimes we draw on secondary sources. That's fine, but please provide proper citations and references. Okay, give credit where credit is due. If your assignment exceeds 20%, we will not be grading it. Okay, so effectively you're going to get 0. So please make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, references, some of the textbooks that you can get from the library. Oh no, I'm blocking the text here. Okay, can you see? Yeah, okay. So this is the website that you can go to look at these books. Branding Ideas, 100 Great Branding Ideas is actually an ebook, okay? So you can actually borrow it online and read a digital copy. I'm back. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're now going to go into the lecture proper. I hope all of you are ready. It's going to be a short one today, so just pay attention and think, okay? So in this lecture, we're going to define what is a brand and talk about what is a brand versus what is a product, what are the differences, and why brands are important. Why is it there's so much talk about brands, okay? And also, we're also going to understand how branding applies to anything and everything, like your individual assignment. Branding applies to people, right? And also to understand the concepts of brand value and brand equity. So what is a brand? A brand, it could be a name, a term, a sign, a symbol, a design, or a combination of all of that, okay? And that design, that name, okay, it differentiates, okay, that person from its category. So for example, if you think about your influencers, okay, an influencer's name, okay, say for example, Naomi Neo. How is she differentiated from the other influencers? What does her name, Naomi Neo, stands for? When I say Naomi Neo, what do you think of? Okay, so that's how she's differentiated from other influencers. She has her own personality. She has her own style. She has her own expertise, her own look that's very, very distinctive. Okay, so really branding is about differentiation. because nobody wants to be the same as the others in branding. We all want to stand out as an individual. Okay, when it comes to a brand, you don't want to just fade into one of the many. You want to try and tell people, hey, I'm different because I'm I'm tall. I'm different because I'm smart. I'm different because I'm better at the rest at doing certain things. Okay, so that's what branding is really about. So let's use the example of Starbucks. I think this is a brand that's very familiar to all of us. Okay, even though Starbucks is really not my favorite brand, but it's so interesting to me that I find myself going to Starbucks, spending a lot of money at Starbucks just because they're everywhere. I know what I can get there. It's very reliable, right? And it's very accessible. And yeah, and it's something that I know, if I'm inviting someone for coffee, that this person would be able to find. Okay, they would have a favorite drink there already. So it's kind of safe. So Starbucks, what they have done very successfully is that they have reimagined, okay, reconstructed even the idea of the third space. What is the third space? For everyone, there is home, first space. There is also work or school, second space. And with a cafe like Starbucks, they want to be the third space. So in between work and home, if I just want to go to a place to hang out, Starbucks. It's a place that I feel comfortable in. It's a place that I can just go and melt into and feel almost at home. Okay, so that's what they have done. And this is very interesting. Their logo, okay, if you look at the very first logo that they have here, let me see if I can point to it. Where's my pointer? Oh dear, I'm not getting the pointer. Okay, never mind. Let's look at the logo, the first one, 1971 to 1987. It doesn't look like anything that is the logo right now. So if you look at the next one, 1986, it doesn't even say Starbucks, right? It was only in 1987 that it starts to look like its current iteration. And it's got that mermaid head and mermaid hair already. Okay, then from 1987 onwards, it's quite recognizable. It's quite similar already. And it has already become an icon, I think. If anywhere you flash this logo, everybody would know Starbucks. Okay, question time. Does Starbucks have a name, a sign, a symbol, a design, or a combination of the above? A name, definitely, right? Starbucks. A sign, if we consider signages inside the store, yes. A symbol, its logo is a symbol. A design, I think in this area, their green, okay, is a color that sets them apart. But if you walk into a Starbucks, does it have very strong design that makes it very clear to you that this is a Starbucks? Not really. But their merchandise has certain design elements that is very, very cohesive and very coherent with the Starbucks brand. Okay, so I would say somewhat yes, somewhat no. A combination of the above, definitely. Okay, the Starbucks brand is made up of all of these things: the name, the sign, the symbol, the design. All right. Okay. Another question: how many competitors does Starbucks have? I will not attempt to count because there's so many, and these are just some that's been found. Okay, this green circle with something in between and the white text, at the bevel of the circle. So why are these logos trying to copy Starbucks? Because Starbucks is really so established, it's something that people are very comfortable with looking at. And they may or may not be hoping that people accidentally mistake them for Starbucks and walk in. There are quite a few chains in China that has done that. Okay, but some of these are not relevant. Like for example, let's see. Oh, they are all relevant. Yeah, sorry, there's one that's a bar. Yeah, USA Bucks bar. Okay, slightly different. Different market altogether, right? They're not selling coffee, they're probably selling alcohol. But the rest of them are all coffee chains, and they kind of hope that, people mistake them for Starbucks and, some of Starbucks branding and marketing luck to rub off on them. Yeah, so you can see the colors, I mean, the countries that they come from, Japan, Taiwan, China, Korea. Yes, these are all the countries that, have taken a lesson from Starbucks, but unfortunately they've applied it wrongly. So think about that for a minute, okay? If there is another influencer called, instead of Naomi New, it's Nina New, okay, and she tries to be Naomi, will it work? The answer is probably not, okay? Because everyone needs to be an individual. Every brand needs to be an individual, and it has to be unique in order to differentiate it from the rest. If your brand is copying someone else and not differentiating yourself, then it's not going to help you very far, right? Okay, now let's watch a little video.
Her eyes command a warm confidence. Her hair ripples as an ocean wave that laps provocatively over her chest. As the face of Starbucks since 2011, the Siren logo is alluring by design, beckoning you into the store to grab a latte or a pastry. Her face is so perfect, it's its own mirror, with the left and right sides copied to match up like a Rorschach test. She's beautiful, and of course she's beautiful, because her face looks like it's a piece of perfect symmetry. And we've long studied symmetry as the defining trait of beauty. But the secret you've probably never noticed about the Siren is that while her features look symmetrical, they're actually asymmetrical. Look at the right side of her nose and you'll see a shadow that sort of dips a little bit lower. I talked to Lippincott, who actually developed this logo for Starbucks in 2011, and it's a pretty funny story. Lippincott's job was to rethink this logo, and they decided, along with Starbucks, to break the Siren out and to make her the focal point. When they were doing that, they decided they had to also make her more perfect. If she was going to be zoomed in her big close-up on the cover of packaging on the front of stores, they wanted her to be perfect. So they slowly started refining her face to be perfect. They made it a little bit skinnier, a little more model-like, and eventually they really did succeed in making her perfect, and they had her up on the wall alongside many different iterations, and they couldn't figure out why her face just sort of looked like a dead mask. She didn't look friendly, she looked a little bit creepy. She looked a little bit like a pseudo-person. What the designers realized was they'd made a mistake. They'd made her too symmetrical. So what they did was they went back to the drawing board. They added a little bit more curve to the entire design, but they really focused on the shadow of the face and adding just a little bit of asymmetry. Honestly, it's just a few pixels in a logo, but look at it and it makes all the difference in the world.
So from the Starbucks example, we can see that the different components of a brand is to identify and differentiate the brand, okay? So the most common elements that we use to identify and differentiate a brand would be the brand name, the logo, sometimes even the URL, and any symbols, okay? Like for Starbucks, it's the mermaid, any characters. For example, for McDonald's, it's Ronald McDonald's, okay? Any slogans, Nike, just do it, or any packaging. Okay, if you think about the FedEx box, okay, they try and make it that icon, the packaging, their icon as well. Okay, so all of this add up together to form the branding of an organization. So why do we bother to do that? Because when you stand out and you have an identity, you have a personality, you are memorable. Okay, you are not just a collection of products. So if you think about it, Nike, if we just know of Nike as a collection of products, okay, they sell balls, they sell shoes, they sell sports clothes, it's not very meaningful, is it? But if it's the Nike logo with the tagline, just do it, it means something different. It means an attitude. It means that this brand, okay, this brand is something that I aspire to be. I aspire to be somebody who's cool and just do whatever I want. Okay, who's just able to not think too much and go do it. So an attitude, a personality is far more powerful than just a group of products. Think about that, okay? Okay, so brand versus product. A product performs a function and anyone can copy it. Okay, think about Nike. So many brands make the same range of things. So many brands also make shoes, also make sports clothes, also make, balls. Okay, but a brand is different. A brand offers a promise and an emotion. Remember, Nike, just do it. That is a promise. Use my products and you will be seen as someone who's cool. You'll be seen as someone with that same attitude. You're not just sports clothes anymore. Okay, you're not just something that's functional anymore. That's a need. But Nike is giving people what they want. They want to be somebody else. They want to be somebody better than who they are. They want to feel good about themselves. Okay, so it's about an emotion. It's not just about fulfilling a need. Always remember that. Let's look at this quote for a minute from, he's got a very interesting name, Stephen King, like the writer, but except this is not Stephen King, the writer. This is Stephen King from WPP. In case you didn't know, WPP is a group of advertising agencies and they own almost every advertising agency in this world. Almost, not all, okay? Now, Stephen King says this, okay? A product is something that's made in a factory, okay? A brand is something that is bought by a customer. Okay, when a customer buys a product, they're not just buying a product, they're also buying into that the emotion, that aspiration, that attitude, that lifestyle. Okay, so that's the brand that the customer is buying. A product can be copied by a competitor, right? Think about all of the Nike knockoffs. Okay, but a brand is unique. Okay, only Nike is Nike. A product is outdated very quickly. But a brand, for example, if you think of Nike, is timeless. Okay, even if Nike doesn't appear, it doesn't survive 100 years later, they will know that there was this icon in human society called Nike. All right. So, what would you rather be? What would you rather sell? A brand or a product? Why do brands matter? Okay, let us go through this point by point. Okay, brands matter to consumers because it means that I know that this product means something. This product means that, for example, when I buy an iPhone, I know that I'll be using a very user-friendly interface. Okay, it's it's a promise, okay, of certain quality. It's a promise of certain, and I know, okay, I've been using Apple for a long time. For example, okay, that it's going to be a very hardy product. Okay, I drop my phone all the time, but it never spoils. Okay, so I know, I trust, okay, in the quality of Apple. So in that sense, it's a bond or a pact that I have made with Apple. Apple has given me this promise. I see that they have delivered, and I will continue to go back to Apple because I know that they will keep this promise. So when I know that they're going to keep this promise, it means that I'm not going to have to waste my time to look at other phones. I'm not going to have to risk buying something and not knowing whether it's going to work as well or not because I've really tried and tested, and okay, this is not going to spoil. The interface is something that's going to be easy to use. You're going to have me as a customer and I'm going to pay you because I know that I will get these points and I will not have to waste time. I will not have to suffer bad products. Okay? So it means that I I believe the promise of Apple. I believe that Apple gives me a quality product. For some people, having an Apple product is also a symbolic matter. Okay, they feel that, oh, I'm carrying an Apple phone. It means that, I'm of a certain status. I know in Singapore it's not so, this type of perception is not so prevalent, but there are some other countries, especially the lower income countries, where they actually say that, wow, you're carrying an Apple phone. Wow, because not everyone can afford an Apple phone, for example, or an Apple iPad or an Apple MacBook in a lot of our neighboring countries, actually. So when you're carrying these products, it's seen as you are somebody that is, um, more well-to-do, more professional, um, more artistic, maybe. Okay. Brands matter to manufacturers as well. Okay. I don't know whether how many of you are familiar with the brand Dyson. Okay. Dyson has a lot of very unique features. For example, they were the ones who came up with the bladeless fan, and they trademarked that. Okay, they've trademarked a lot of parts of their motors as well. Okay, so for them, this is their competitive advantage. Okay, and their products, if you're not aware, they are much more expensive than similar products. Okay, so a Dyson hairdryer is easily 3 times that of an ordinary hairdryer. And why do people pay? Because Dyson has this patented technology of certain motor, of certain parts that only they can make. Okay, so because of that, this is very important to Dyson. If I spend so much research on research and development, okay, to come up with this special bladeless technology, we come up with this very this turbine type of motor, I want to protect it. And I want people to know that, not everyone has it. So this brand protects my intellectual property. And it also means that when I sell it at a premium, and I can recoup the money that I spent on research and development. Okay. So what is a brand? Let's go through some of these brands. I think you'll be very familiar with a lot of them. For packaged goods, brands like Coke, Kit Kat, sorry, typo there. For service, okay, when we think about very premium service, what brands do we think of? There's Singapore Airlines, okay, the best airline in the world, voted many times in many surveys. There's also FedEx. Okay, FedEx is seen as a premium in logistics, okay, because FedEx is much more expensive. They have a lot of overnight and very fast services that other courier companies cannot match up. Okay, ingredients, very interesting type of branding. Okay, brands like Intel and Impossible. You need to pay attention here because we're going to be talking a lot about Impossible foods during our tutorial next week. Okay, if you look at your computer, can everyone see if you have that logo that says Intel inside? So it's trying to tell you that this laptop is embedded with the Intel chip. So it's reliable. So it's the best semiconductor chip there is the best chip that you have operating your laptop. That's called ingredient branding. The brand of your laptop may be, I don't know, HP, Dell, but the chip inside could be all Intel. Okay? So that's called ingredient branding, telling your customers what's inside your product so that they win your vote of confidence. Sorry, so that you win their vote of confidence. Okay? So same for Impossible Foods. We will talk more about that later. A brand in media and content. Of course, we have brands like Disney. Okay, Disney is they used to be, just theme parks, right? But of course, it's cartoons that came first, and then they built the theme parks, and then now they are an OTT, over the top channel, right? You can watch all of your Marvel content on Disney. They come up with so many Disney originals as well. And then we have Netflix. Netflix is another OTT channel. They used to be just a conduit for you to watch, your latest drama series and movies. But now they are also creating. In fact, Netflix has a goal of 50% original content. They are all creating their own content because content is king. When they create their own content, they own it and they have more control. People, this is very interesting, also very related to your IA1. The people with very strong brands. Think about Kylie Jenner. Think about Blackpink. They are all entertainers, but they have made themselves into brands. Kylie Jenner is one of them. Kylie and the sister, right, Kendall, yeah. Both of them are billionaires because of the brand that they have created around themselves. Okay, that personality. Same for Blackpink. All the luxury brands are endorsed by them. Why? Because they bring their own brand into these luxury brands. And what they stand for youthfulness, they stand for being fashionable, they stand for being hip, they stand for, being fun and energetic. Okay, events. Okay, events are also brands. The Olympics is a brand. The World Cup is also a brand. Countries. Okay, we have Actually, you'll be surprised at how much countries spend on branding. Singapore, passion made possible. That's our slogan. And yeah, we actually spend a lot of money advertising our Singapore brand in overseas magazines because we want to be seen, as a first world country, as a very technologically advanced, very vibrant country. Yeah, so every brand positions themselves a little bit differently from the others to try and stand out. Okay, and there's a lot of gains that can be achieved from there. Okay, so remember just now I kept talking about impossible. What sort of branding is this? Whopper. A Whopper. Where can you get a Whopper? Does anyone know? You can only buy a Whopper at Burger King. And this Whopper is made of impossible meat. Let's talk more during our tutorial. It's going to be fun. Okay, and I'm going to talk about the best global brands. These are the most valuable brands on this planet. All your usual suspects like Disney, like Microsoft, Samsung, McDonald's, Amazon, Facebook, Google, Apple, Coca-Cola, Toyota. And this is really is scientific, yeah. It's not made up by me, okay? There's this website, there's this company, okay, called interbrand.com. They consolidate all this data on brands. They look at these brands' financials, the role of the brand, and how strong their brand is. They have different metrics that they use to track. Okay, and they actually track how the brand value changes from year to year. So you can see for Apple, it changed 26%, and that's massive. Okay, so you can see Amazon as well. It grew 24%. Microsoft grew 27%. So a brand can actually become more valuable or less valuable over time. And this is, of course, relative to all the other brands. Sometimes, a brand doesn't do anything wrong, but other brands become stronger, so they go down. All right. Now, I want all of you to think about what are your favorite brands. List down at least 3. Scan this QR code. Okay, the one here. Oh no, can you see me? Yeah, the one right here. Okay. Check on the interbrand.com website. Okay, if they are listed in the best global ranking or not, and identify what the brand elements are. Is it a logo? Is it a slogan? Is it certain symbols or packaging? Okay, and then I want you to also state the reason. This is very important to me. Okay, why is it your favorite brand? Okay, so scan this QR code and fill this in. Okay, now let's talk about measuring a brand's performance. Remember just now we talked about the best global brands. How are they valued? There are actually 2 ways that we do this. One is called brand valuation. The other is called brand equity. Let's look at the header in pink. Sorry, I can't point all the way there because actually I'm in this little box right here. Okay, and I can only point like that or like that. Okay, so over there, the business finance model, that is brand valuation. That is using dollars and cents, using the price of say Apple's shares as well as the price that consumers are willing to pay for Apple products over their competitors. So it becomes a number value. We can actually be very scientific in how we calculate a brand's valuation using the finance model. Okay. And then there is also brand equity. This brand equity is slightly different. It's not really calculated using numbers. It is really qualitative. Okay. It is how researchers would conduct surveys on the perceived worth of a brand. How influential is it? Um, how much social status or how much value carries in the perception of the general public as well as its target audience. Okay, and the importance of the brand in its marketing strategy. So there are certain brands, they don't have to sell their products very much. they just tell you the brand, like Nike. Okay? Whereas other brands, they push the features very much because they're pushing their products. So those brands are perceived to be less strong in terms of its brand equity. All right? So two different models, brand valuation and brand equity. Okay, now let me conclude today's lecture. A brand, it could be a name, a term, a sign, a symbol, a design, or combination of all of these. A brand is not a product, okay? A product may need a brand. A product may have a brand, but it's not necessarily a brand. A brand has got different dimensions, and ultimately it's about differentiation. A brand wants to differentiate itself from other brands, from other products that satisfy the same needs. Okay, you want people to know that, hey, I'm a running shoe, but I'm a Nike running shoe. I'm not any other running shoe. Okay? And customers can perceive the differences among brands. So by being able to perceive the difference, customers are able to make choices much more quickly. They spend less time, less effort, and they feel safer when they buy things from brands that they trust. Okay, and that's it for lecture 1. I look forward to meeting all of you next week. Bye.